Well, I got to follow that. Jesus. I got better stories than you. Jim Kelly just texted me back. He said, "You're the best." Okay, so I didn't really write to Norm. I wrote to Isabella. I never talked to Norm. When I was 17, I went to an LPGA tour event and I saw Laura Baugh. She's a year older than me, and I saw her hit the ball, and I was like, oh my God, that was like awesome. And I saw this big golf bag and these fancy golf shoes and this great outfit. And I said, I want to do what she does. And then I thought to myself, and I want to kick her ass. And so I went home and I told my parents, I want to be a golf pro and I want to play on the LPGA tour. And my father goes, that's good. And I said, I think I want to play college golf. That's good. So how are you going to do that? I said, I don't know. And I'm really old. These guys are punks to me, okay? And so there was no internet then. There were no cell phones either. And there was just becoming color TV, like, yay. And so I played Ben Hogan golf clubs, and I read Golf Digest magazine, so I wrote to them, and I said, are there schools with college golf teams? And that's like writing to Santa Claus, waiting for an answer. And so I waited like a week, and I was like, I don't know where the answer is. And then I waited a month, then I waited 3 months, and I got an answer. So, nah. And so they wrote back, and I only remember 2 schools. One was Odessa Junior College in Texas, right? Yeah. If you're from Buffalo, are you going to go there? No. And so then the other one was the University of Miami, and I'm like, oh, okay. And so I wrote, and Isabella Hutchinson wrote back, and I said, well, I have a 14 handicap. And she said, the worst girl on our team has a 5. And you're not good enough to be here. And I said, well, what if I practiced? Could I come down and be a walk-on? And she wrote back, so this was snail mail back and forth. She said, well, you're welcome to come down and try, but you'll probably never play. And I said, okay. And I have been known as the badass bitch from Buffalo. And so I happen to be... that is true. And I even have a logo now. And you have to earn the right to get a shirt from me. So I played golf with a guy who was a captain for Eastern Airlines, and they happened to live in Coral Gables, and they had a summer cottage. And so I got into the school, never talked to Norm, only Isabella. And so the captain from Eastern Airlines with his family said, well, we're flying the plane back down to Coral Gables, so we'll take her to the school. Never visited the school, only saw the pictures of the palm trees and the pool. And so I said, okay, I want to go. So they dropped me off at Pearson Hall with my golf bag and my suitcase. And I sat on the bed and I cried. And my father said, you have 1 year in a scholarship or you're coming home. I'm like, oh, okay. So then I had met a girl named Mary Lawrence from St. Lawrence, New York. Isn't that weird? And so she was recruited. And so I called Mary and I said, can you take me to meet Norm? And she did. And I said, hi, Isabella said I could be on the team. Did you say yes? And he said yes. And Norm Parsons changed my whole life because he said yes to me. And because he said yes to me, he let me try out for the team. And then I got off the bed after I stopped crying, and I practiced. And then I practiced some more, and then I practiced some more. And then I qualified for the team, and then I would go in weekly to bug him and say, can I get a scholarship? Can I get a scholarship? Can I get a scholarship? And then he finally said, shut up. You got a scholarship. And then I don't think the rest of the team, did you guys know that I drove him nuts? Diane, Terry, Ann, did you know that? You didn't know that, did you? And Sue Farber happened to be my first roommate, and it's her fault that I'm a teacher. She's sitting in the room back there. Haven't seen her since we used to get in a lot of trouble, but I saw her tonight, and I'm like, oh my God, it's you. I was going to major in business. She goes, don't be a business major. Major in phys ed. I'm like, teach? I don't want to teach. Now I'm in the LPGA Hall of Fame, Teachers Hall of Fame. It's your fault. What the hell? So then we used to go, and I will move on. But anyway, thank you to the Hall of Fame for putting me in here. It's only been 50 years. It's never too late, right? So we used to play skins game at Biltmore. The Biltmore didn't look like it looks now. It looked like a dump then. It was, like haunted with anything. It wasn't even open. But we used to play skins game at the Biltmore, and then we would go to the Rathskeller and drink. And did I mention people from Buffalo are really good at drinking? And there was a guy sitting at the Rathskeller with $100 bills. And Cindy's not stupid. She made friends with the guy at the Rathskeller with the $100 bills buying shots for everybody. His name was Dirtbag, and he happened to be a professional gambler. I'm not lying. His name was Dirt. He was from New Hampshire, and he was buying everybody's shots with $100 bills. And I'm like, oh, what do you do? And he goes, well, I'm Pat Bradley's sponsor on the LPGA Tour. I'm like, yeah, okay. He goes, no, I am. And he goes, and I've got a friend that's playing on the PGA Tour named Alan Miller, and he's coming into town, and I'll get you a free ticket because I'm going to caddy for him. I'm like, oh, okay. And so he did. And then I thought, oh, he's cute. Does anybody swing that slow? Because he goes, da-dum, da-dum. And so when he got done playing at Doral, he goes, do you want me to help you with your swing? And I said, yeah. And then Dirt and I and Carolyn Hill started to live together. And then I met this guy named Rick Remmert, who was like, have you ever met the Odd Couples? Anybody know Rick Remmert? Rick Remmert's like the nerd ball, right? And he writes all these articles, and he's Mr. Perfect, and he never does anything wrong. So Dirt and Rick Remmert lived together. So the Odd Couple was perfect, right? And Rick told me not to talk about how much we used to drink. Rick was perfect, but not me, and not Dirt. Anyway, so all I have to tell you is that my junior year, when we were going to nationals, we had to play against Tulsa. And I don't know if you know about Tulsa, but Tulsa had Nancy Lopez. Have you ever heard of her? Just some little chick that used to be good. And so we had these shirts made because we had 3 people from New York State, and then we had somebody from Illinois, and we had 4 people from New York State. No, we had anyway, and we had these shirts made, the Miami No Names Stroke It Better. What a great name for a t-shirt, right? So we went to Hawaii, and we kicked their asses, and we won nationals. Yay. Anyway, so I just want to tell you how much this place has changed my whole life, because Norm Parsons kept his word, and he said yes to me. Now, did I put in the work? Yeah. Was the team great? Yeah. Did I make friends for a lifetime? Yeah. But because one guy, do you know how many coaches would let some girl or guy be a walk-on and give him a chance? Not many. But that guy did to me. I met my husband because of this place. I have 3 beautiful children, 7 grandchildren. Rick Remmert has been my friend for 50-some years, right? And Norm and Linda, and now all you guys, and now I'm in the Hall of Fame, and now I'm in the LPGA Hall of Fame. So I have a little thing here called the It Box. And I am a brat, but I mean well. And we've gone through lots of stuff in my life, and I'm writing a book that's coming out hopefully in a month, and it's called Take Another Shot at Business, Golf, or Life. And see, most of my life I've been told I'm not good enough by multiple people at multiple places and multiple sources. And the book is kind of about the committee of they. And Vicki said, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you can't do this. And so there's 3 things in this box. The first thing in the box is a nail. Sometimes we sit on a nail for a really long time, and it might be poking us, and we whine about, oh, I don't like my job, and I'm not good enough for this, or my husband's bothering me, or I'm too fat, and I should lose weight, and we just keep sitting on this nail, and we never do anything about it. So I'm going to dare you to get off the nail and stop whining. That's the first thing in the box. There is a cute little box. And if you buy the book, you're going to get a little box. Norm bought a book because he wants a signed copy. Norm can get a free copy. The second thing in the box is a mirror. So if you have the courage to pursue your it, you're going to look in the mirror. And you're going to see some things about yourself that you might not like. So sometimes I'm a little too bossy. Sometimes I can be a little bit of a brat. So sometimes Cindy has to take a chill pill and adapt her behavior and not be a witch. So second thing in the box is a mirror. So you have to get off the nail, stop whining, look in the mirror, and change some things. And the third thing in the box is a seed. Now, see, Alan and I have not always been happy-go-lucky. Alan ended up being a little bit of an alcoholic, and Alan tried to commit suicide. And there were times in our lives when I wanted to kill Alan, but I didn't, and he didn't commit suicide because it was a blessing that he didn't. But I happen to be a Christian, even though sometimes I swear like a truck driver. And I was sitting in a counselor's office one time, and I was crying and whining and moaning about Alan, and I didn't have any Kleenex, and the boogers were going in my mouth. And so the counselor went in, and he went and grabbed some toilet paper, and he gave it to me, and he said, "The Lord wants me to tell you something." And I went, "Oh, really? What'd he tell you?" Like a little brat. And he said, "He told me to tell you that he's planted a seed in your life, Cindy, and you keep digging the seed up to see if it's growing. He told me to tell you to leave the seed alone and put it in the light and water it. And if you do, there's no telling how good this is going to end up." And I kind of shut up. And I want to tell you something. That was 27 years ago. And guess what? I'm standing on this stage 27 years later. We never got divorced. My husband hasn't had a drink in 28 years, and I'm coming out with a book that's going to change everybody's life. So all I want to say is thank you, and thank you, Norm Parsons. I love you.